potential or your vision. And it's a fairy tale in a way that it's the power of fantasy to survive in the violence of the world. How was working on that movie? And how did you come the movie to you?
That film, from the moment I read the script, I was staying I was crashing in Chivo's sofa. I didn't have a place in LA. And he would, because he started to work, he started to be more, he started having jobs before me there as a cinematographer. And he was receiving screenplays. You know, and among them was A Little Princess. And I remember it says, oh yeah, that was offered to Alfonso Cuaron and he wanted me to read it, but he doesn't want to do it. He said, it's really sweet, you should read it. I read it. It was written by Richard LaGravenese, who had done The Fisher King. And I knew I had to do that film. And I was developing in Hollywood means that you're just working on the script with the writer, the studio pays you some money, and that's how I was surviving. My passion was not fully in the project, but I was earning money. And another for the same studio was doing something else. So they told me it's unlikely that they will give it to you because you're already doing something else. He says, well, I quit the other one and I do this. He says, yeah, well, that doesn't mean that they are going to give it to you. And I went to the room and all these people, like executives, walk into the room. And you know, like the first guy who was seated already was this kind of shabby guy who was sitting there, and then everyone started writing. And I just said what I wanted to do, and then I realized that the shabby guy was the head of the studio. Very smart, and he said, and for some, I hope that they gave me the job because they heard what I said, but I don't know if it's because when he was in the meeting, I was looking at him, and at some point he smiled, and for some reason I decided to set the dude, and he goes like, I go like this, and he goes like this. I go, see, I go like this. Thank you, he was like very softly, very quietly, and he didn't have anything. And sometimes I think that that's the reason they gave me the job, because a fake piece of lettuce in between the teeth. And it was an amazing experience during that film. It was playing with all the toys that I have never played with, and a cast of 20 girls, and my son, who was the same age, was hanging with them, and he even played a part in the film. And it was fantastic. But at that time, and I have to say, I can't talk for Chivo, we didn't take ourselves so seriously about that. We were trying to learn. In my first film, I remember we said, if we can do one scene that is fine, we're happy. And that it looks good and technically, because Mexican cinema tend to be technically very poor at the time. And we were very concerned about the technicality of it. In this one, we said, well, if we can do a film that at least is eloquent from A to Z, we're going to be fine. And I had kind of lost what I wanted to do. By the way, it's to my memory, because I never seen my film since I shot it. For me is, I just keep the memory of them, and it's my most joyous experience. But then I completely lost my way there in that system. I went to do another film.
Great Expectation. that was kind of sexy with a cynical vision of love, but you say that you were not so really happy about it, the result of it.
The problem is that I was doing the film I didn't really fully understand the material, and I don't want to talk ill about it because some people who love the film, they have told me not to talk ill about it, so I have to stay more neutral. But I know that I remember my experience, and I didn't understand it. I was trying to struggle with it. What was the meaning? I was trying to overcompensate what I didn't have, understand, like, of the film with formalism. And Chivo kept on when I read the script, I didn't like it. You know, I didn't want to do it, and Chivo kept on asking. We weren't happy, and Chivo kept on telling me every morning. He would look at me kind of angry and say, "Next time, trust your fucking instinct." You know? And I was very unhappy, and maybe the best thing that happened to me is that it was also a flop. Because when I didn't understand, I thought, well, but with cool shit that I can shoot, it's going to be great. And it was not. And then I got very sad. I find that I had lost my way. I had found that it was a whole system, that I was like a piece for hire, that they had convinced me that I should not write because it would be difficult to find jobs. And I was there in New York at the time, and I rented I went to the video shop. There were still video shops with VHS. And I went and I rented like 30 films, random, but that I remember were films that had inspired me from the get-go. And I locked myself, and I just watched one after the other. And I was really upset with myself about having lost 5 years of my life reading scripts. And it's when I called my brother and says, "Come, let's write the screenplay." And we did it to Mama Tambien.
Change everything. So you decide to reinvent yourself, go back to Mexico, make a movie that is so outside of the US industry. There is it's a coming of age, there is the discovering of sexuality between two teenagers and older woman. There is some nudity, but there is also this social tension on the background. So the movie was amazing. I remember I watched in Venice when it was presented, where there was the actors, and I didn't expect anything like that. So tell